Today's episode is brought to you in part by philpmarchingfx.com. With 20 years' experience designing for your indoor and outdoor marching arts teams, their passion is to help creatively showcase your performers while making performances memorable for your audiences. For drill, staging, prop fabrication, and so much more, check out philpmarchingfx.com. That's PHILP marching, the letters fx.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Flags in a Gym, a podcast dedicated to all things color guard. My name is Eric. I'm your host and resident color guard nerd. And for today's episode, I sat down with my dear friend Jen to talk about things we wish we knew as a young or new instructor. We talked about the biggest mistakes we've seen instructors make, ways to protect yourself and your students, keeping up with the Joneses, learning from the past, and more. So sit back, relax, and let's talk some color guard. Before we get started, I did want to take a quick moment and just let you know that I am planning on doing a listener Q&A episode where I answer any questions you have that are related to color guard or the podcast. You can send those questions to flagsinagympod@gmail.com. Now on to the episode. Hello. How are you?
You know we're surviving out here in these streets. How about you?
That's the name of the game these days, is just surviving. Lips are above the waterline at this point.
Let's do it. Let's try to survive.
I am sitting down with a very, very good friend of mine, and we have a very special episode today. So before we get started, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself to everybody?
No problem. My name is Jen McPherson-Jones, married hyphen name. I originally started spinning in Florida. So yeah, sorry. Florida back in the day, Florida. And moved to Virginia, started teaching here, Freedom High School, and now I am the assistant director and the movement caption head at George Mason University Open Class Winter Guard.
Yeah, and you were fourth this year. And
Yes.
good to know you call yourself the movement caption head, because I referenced you in an episode and I was like, she's the movement, and I couldn't figure out the last word, director. So it's just like,
Fair enough, because my background before guard was dance, right? So dance got me into guard and like usually the other way around. So movement caption it is from dance.
yeah. Well, awesome. So the topic of today's episode is one I wanted to do for a very long time. And when the
Great.
idea of the podcast was first being created, this was on my to-do list. And I've been saving this one for you because
So
we
special.
both, we feel special. We have both taught together and
Yes.
we've both been in the game for a long time. You're still actively in the game teaching.
Mhm.
And I've always found myself, with the rose-colored glasses, I keep looking back. If I could go back and teach 20 years ago with what I know now, I would have a killer program.
Listen, unstoppable. What do you forget? Killer, unstoppable program.
Right. Watch out, Avon. I'm coming for you.
It's
Right.
done. Never know what hit them out of the blue.
So this one is for all the instructors out there, whether you're young and right out of high school or drum corps and taking over your first group, or if you're just a new instructor in general. Sometimes we're out of the game for 10 years and then a school's like, hey, we need an instructor. And you're like, I'll do it. Or even season one can learn from this. So these are just things we wish we knew as a new or young instructor. It's not a finite list. They're not ranked in any order. We just kind of both came up with ideas. I compiled them together and I tried to group it so it's has some semblance of kind of the ideas are similar. So they're not ranked in importance or anything like that, other than maybe the first one, which I'll go ahead and get us started with. And we both kind of had this on our lists. The big thing is you need to understand your role and your relationship within the program. Specifically, you are not their friend.
Ooh, yes.
You are now in a teacher-student relationship, regardless of your age. If you just graduated and you're now 19 and you're teaching 17-year-old seniors, I understand you're practically the same age, but you are now in a teacher-student relationship.
Absolutely. Especially in this day and age now, it is so important to draw that line that you are an authority, and even if you are close in age, that relationship has a dynamic. So regardless if they are younger or if they just graduated and you were a senior last year and now you're graduated and you've come back to be in the program, your best friend who was your rifle partner on the line is no longer your buddy anymore. If you want to teach, you have to learn how to draw the line between being an instructor and being, rifle number two, doing the backhand flip with your best friend.
Absolutely. And don't be friending them on, this isn't, we're old, right? So, people would friend their students on Facebook, but don't be friending them on
MySpace.
Instagram, MySpace, right? Instagram, TikTok, and all that. Keep it professional. But professional doesn't mean cold or distant.
No.
You can still have a great relationship. I mean, we all remember those teachers we had a great relationship with,
Yeah,
in regular school or color guard.
I agree. I think also, like you said, not being cold, you can still ask one of your students how they're doing. You don't have to come in because when it's time for technique time and it's time, things are getting tough for competitions and we have to have these things clean. These kids are going through stuff, right? This is not a time when we were marching. They have so many distractions and so many things that are throwing at them. We can say, hey, how are you? How are you doing today? Because kids go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Those teenage years. Just
are tough. They're really tough. And you can lend an ear, but know when to stop. Safe sport. We all have to take that nowadays because people understand where the line is drawn.
right. You can go out to dinner with the kids if you go out with the whole team.
The whole team,
Do
but the
not go on a one on
one-on-one,
one.
the one-on-one, no.
Do not date your students. Do not give your students your personal phone number.
No. As a matter of fact, I would use Slack.
Yep.
You know,
Slack,
everyone's
Discord.
there. It can be traced, it can be tracked, but them having a personal phone number, not okay.
Nope.
And there's nothing they need to text you outside of rehearsal. There's nothing that they need to, or you need to text them outside of rehearsal. It's just not safe. It's not safe for you as an instructor, and it's not safe for them as a kid. They have to know the lines. Your members have to know the lines where they're bound.
Absolutely. And then you also mentioned you're not the parents' friends either.
Let me tell you, that line can get blurred as a young instructor because parents are older than you are. When you're 18, 19, 20, 21, I'll even go up to 25, brain development, you want to rely on these parents because their parents, to be fair, want the best for their kid. And when their kids are in your program, what's best for their kid is what's best for the instructor. Those parents will do whatever they can to make you happy and do whatever they can to make their kids happy. But those parents go. When those seniors are gone, they're out the door too. So relying on them in a way that's not professional just isn't smart.
Yeah. And don't ever talk about the other kids to the parents because it will get out.
It will come
Even if
back.
you say something like, oh, God, Susie's just driving me crazy. She can't catch anything. An offhanded remark like that will get out and get to the other parents, and then you've just got problems.
That or on something about another parent to another parent.
Mm.
That is not it. That will no. Saying stuff to other parents about other parents, save it for backseat gossip in your car by
Yep.
yourself.
Or when you're calling your best
So,
friend after
yep,
rehearsal.
because that is the gossip will destroy your program. And regardless of the fact your parents are not your friends, but they are a big help. And you can have some good parents that are helpful. Just make sure you have those boundaries because sometimes
Yes.
parents don't know the boundaries either.
No, and they will overreach.
Right. Right. So you have to make sure you're setting those boundaries with your students, with those parents, because they will go and push as far as they can in an unhealthy way.
Absolutely. Just remember you are in an authority position no
Mhm.
matter your age, and you have to treat it as such. One you brought up as well, we're going to kind of keep it in kind of just the managerial kind of aspect of it. Not every member is going to be dedicated.
Woo-hoo! I think, especially you love guard, I love guard. The people that we grew up with in guard love guard. But not every kid who comes to audition is going to have the same love for guard, understand how much guard means to us as instructors, or even our superstar kids, right? They don't see guard in the same way. Some of them are like, I guess my friend Karen's doing it, I'll do it too. I'm bored. There's nothing else for me to do. I don't want to do track. I don't want to be outside. I guess I'll pick up this flag and do something.
Yeah,
And
mom says I have to do a sport, so I guess I'll do this.
guess I'll do it. And we're expecting them to have the same kind of maturity and understanding and the self-discipline to be in guard. So they're going to come in and may not have practiced because they don't care. They're going to come in not knowing that work because they really don't care. That's what happens, especially in like Virginia when you can't start guard until high school.
Or when you have huge bands with tiny guards, so the band director sends their excess flutes to the guard and say, "You can do guard, or this is your option. I don't have a flute spot for you because for some reason we have to have 50 flutes on the field and 50 clarinets on the field, and then excess goes to the guard, and they don't want to be there,
Nope.
but because they're in wind ensemble, they have to be involved in the marching band."
You have never lied. That is such a good point. Right. So there are people that audition that don't want to be there, and there are people that are thrown in there. And you trying to coach them the same way Susie third year, who's like, I want to go march crown. I want to learn all the tricks. I want to stay after and do more. You can't coach those two members the same. It'll not only be frustrating for them, but also for you as an instructor.
Yeah. So you need to understand it's okay. They're not going to be dedicated, and you have to know how you're going to handle that.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't put Karen in every movement. It's like, you know what? Okay, we'll just have you do the opener. Yeah, and then you can sit behind the gong for the rest of the show.
And say, or she can pull out that big flag that runs across.
Right?
They can push that prop.
For $2,000.
But they could also, what I have found too, is that they may not be fit, a good foot in the guard, but they may be okay in the pit.
I think it's a struggle every guard director has had to deal with. And I just you and I have dealt with it a lot just because, as you said, you can't start guard up here. There are no middle school programs up here. You can't start till high school. And academics is so strong up here that activities or sports are backburnered. Texas, they always say, football's king and whatnot. Virginia, even football, basketball, those get backburnered.
They
So
do.
sports like dance team, color guard, these little lower tier. I hate to say lower tier, but on the hierarchy, we're below football. Let's be real.
True. I mean,
You know,
there was a student I had once who was pretty good. She joined during indoor season. She was pretty decent. She was a freshman. We had won that competition, and her mom's emailed the athletic director and I was like, why isn't the color guard on the front page? Because they won. And the athletic director was like, well, because they're not really a sport. Her mom was like, it's not a sport. Pulled her out of the program because she wanted her daughter involved in a sport. And Winogard did not, according to our schools, isn't a sport. And so her mom was like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. She didn't understand what guard was. So dedicated or not,
mm. And we all know it's a sport.
we all know it's a sport.
It's a sport.
What are the
Um,
arts?
yeah, sport of the arts. And you also mentioned fretting over vets leaving the program.
You know, that's not just something for new instructors. I think many instructors get that anxious and nervousness because they have trained all these kids for how many years, if it's high school, if it's undergrad, or if it's an independent program, and they age out or they graduate, and you think, my stars are leaving me. What's going to happen when they go? Oh my goodness, it's going to all fall apart. But our job is to teach, and we have to train every year. And that's what's it about. So instead of focusing on what's not going to be there, focus on how you have to start training your next set of superstars.
Yep. And then, one thing that I encountered teaching, I'm sure you did, is I would have students leave their junior year
Yeah.
because, like we were talking about academics, well, I got to do school prep because the area we live in, it's very culturally vibrant. It's just,
Yeah.
we got lots of different nationalities, ethnicities here. And the parents are so strict on academics. I had so many students that come to me, I want to do guard, but my parents are pulling me out because I have to focus for my SATs, for
Mhm.
school, everything like that. Like these parents are just, you are going to get into a good school. And because of SATs, PSATs, you got to take all these extra AP classes, guard gets cut.
It's true. It's first, I'd say first generation, right? Because
Mm.
our parents don't understand extracurriculars. It's not a thing, right? It's school, school, school. There is no marching band. There is, at best, there may be a music program. Especially I know in my home country, All this other stuff is for the birds. It's track, maybe track and field, and you play a violin. So when you talk about these other things they don't have in other countries, like marching band is very USA specific. And so
Hmm.
parents are like, what? You got to stop this foolishness. You have to put your head in those books because this marching band stuff, this color guard stuff, this dance stuff is not going to get you to college. And so, yes, being first generation, this age, like you said, this area has a very high concentration of first generation families that were not raised around that kind of culture. So
I knew
that,
about track, but violin, really, in Jamaica?
yeah, my sister, remember, she is a music professor. She
Yeah,
chose
she's a doctor, the music department head at
Temple.
Temple. I knew it was a T.
Temple.
I was gonna say Tulane, but
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's T.
Oh, yeah. So we all took piano lessons and I hated it because I was like, I want to dance. Mom was like, dance is not a thing. But yeah, when it comes to, because music is pretty universal.
Right.
So they understand that, but you add the marching artistry to it, they're like, we don't know this. This is not, this is not going to get us
This
anywhere.
is not Beethoven. This is not
Nope.
Bach.
Mm-mm. And they
Get
say
back,
no
get,
track.
get,
So it's
get back
like
to Moonlight Sonata and then go run 3 miles.
pretty much.
Okay, so moving on. One thing I think new instructors really need to do is you need to find your own voice in multiple facets. First, in your teaching style.
Mhm.
You can learn from your marching experiences, both good and bad. You know when you've had good instructors, you know when you've had bad instructors. And just because you were taught one way does not mean that's the best way to teach. I mean, I think you look at today, I was talking about this with somebody else on a previous podcast where, I marched late 90s, early 2000s, where yep, you were right there with me with instructors, no filter, the wild stuff they would say, like you could not get away with the way instructors taught.
You couldn't get away
Today, you could
half of
not
the
do that.
stuff that no, it would never fly. The lawsuits on my other hat, the lawsuits alone that would fly and would win
Hmm.
because it was the inappropriateness of what they said. There was zero filter.
Zero
It was just
filter.
not only was it cruel, but it was demeaning. Oh my goodness. And like you said, figuring out your own style. I have noticed some people, instead of trying to soften the style, they try to be even harder instructors than that we had previously, which is not flying. So whatever style they try to do, like, oh well, when I was marching, da da da, and it made me better. Uh, did it? And just by better, not just by your spinning, but your whole character. And I think,
Well, what's funny is you mentioned that is so back again when I was marching, you look at the sport now, it's very supportive. The guards love each other, they're cheering each other on, it's a very camaraderie. Back in my day, no.
no,
You did not get along. You had your rival. You didn't talk to them. You trash talked them and they trash talked you. Like and it, because that was also kind of the teaching style was very
yes,
harsh, very demeaning. Like you said, I mean, you would get cussed out left and right for little mistakes. And, you think of like those people that have lost their relationships with their parents because of the way their parents raised them, you're never good enough. They're yelling at you for everything. It's kind of the
yes,
same way. It's just like those
true.
they were taught not everybody, but a lot of instructors taught through fear and anger. And,
Great.
while, okay, yeah, maybe it got results because you put the fear of God in everybody that if I drop, I'm going to be killed, or whatever. But
Agreed.
is that good for psyche?
It's not. And I think that's something a lot of us, I think, have a lot of trauma. Not only did I have that in the color guard world, I had in the dance world too.
Oh, and I think dance is worse than color
Oh, it was
guard.
awful. It was so awful. So I remember trying to make my own matriculation of color guard and dance and being like, there is no way I want to teach in that same style. It's almost triggering to think about. I find it interesting how you said how the rivals were happening between the different groups. And I also wonder if because the different groups instructors didn't really get along. Because I saw that. I would see how my instructors did not get along with the other instructors or the
Oh, yeah.
teachers, and it carried on through us.
Yep.
But not, it's not like, and it's interesting because they were the same age. And now that we're this age, It's not really like that.
No, it's not.
And
I
I
mean, I'm
don't
sure
know,
it still exists out there somewhere, but I
of
mean,
course.
but as a whole, the sport has become very, let's gather around each other because we're all we have, because this is such a niche sport. And
Yes.
love, love, love. And, you can still playfully, throw shade or whatever. But I mean, when
Right.
back in our day, they were not throwing shade.
No, they were not. They were doing the reading is fundamental nowadays.
Yeah.
But then they were like, I will cut you and you will bleed, and I will not call police because
Mhm.
this is how it's going down. It was, you could feel the vitriol,
Yeah.
honestly. It didn't
And
feel good.
and I think it's the guards picked up on it because, I'm a parent, I have young kids, and, they're not biologically mine, we adopted, but I already see my children picking up my mannerisms and
Wow.
my sayings. And it's just like, because they see it and that's their world and that's how they're interacting with. So, like, my husband and I, we kind of have to be like, we got to be careful how we word things because you have inside jokes, between adults. And not that it's vulgar, but, you can call your friend ugly and they know you're joking,
Right.
but as a kid, they see that and, oh, my dad's calling somebody ugly. So I can call people ugly. And I think going back to when we were marching, we saw our instructors trash talking everybody, trash talking other performers. So we just,
Trash talking the judges.
yes, oh my God, the judges. And we just, that's what we learned.
Yep.
And that's how we treated everybody else. We just figured that was the norm in the sport, especially high schoolers.
Oh, yeah.
When you're so impressionable, you just assume that's how the sport works.
I also wonder, going back down memory lane, how and why, because again, for the most part, we're all the same age. We all have these groups of, now we're somewhat old heads. Ooh,
Mhm.
rough to say.
Our
Um,
age starts with a four.
it's
Oof.
right. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, we are the same age, so we kind of know we're all going through in life. So I think it makes us more sympathetic towards each other. So it's like looking back, what was happening in the world? Because the 90s, I remember that I would go back to the 90s. The 90s was living large. Early
But we
2000s,
also didn't have social media. We didn't
right,
have the 24-hour news cycle that was just, when
right.
we think of today, it's doom and gloom everywhere. So I think that's a big reason why people are like, this is a sport of fun. We love it. So we're going to latch onto the love of it.
Must be because we only Facebook started my gosh, my senior year of undergrad.
I
When
mean,
social,
I
I was
was
on
on
MySpace.
MySpace.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I,
MySpace didn't seem to have the vitriol, right? MySpace was like, unless the top 10 and Tom.
oh yeah,
That was the only
your top
drama.
eight. That's where all the drama came from. Because
That's where the
you
drama
moved
came
somebody
from.
out of your top eight.
Whoop,
You were getting a phone call. Excuse me, why? And then you got
okay.
pulled out of their top eight.
You sure did. And I remember because who I was marching with were always in my top eight. That was the only drama going down with the top eight. Like, uh-oh, who am I
I knew what
marching
they were doing. Here, rank your friends.
with?
You
They
have
said,
10 friends. You can only pick eight.
well, I
Who?
have top 40. I edited mine for top 40.
Yeah,
So,
they ended up expanding it, but it started
yep,
out as an eight, and you could
that it
only
was
do eight.
eight. And Tom was the first one.
Yep.
I used to leave him on there on purpose.
Good old Tom.
Mm. But to go back to, like I said, it seems you're right. The world was cupcakes and rainbows. So clearly created drama. The
Mm.
drama had to be created because now it's like we're all just trying to survive.
Yep.
And it is very niche.
So yeah, in your teaching style, find your own voice.
Mhm.
Learn from previous experiences. And the same goes with in design.
Yes.
Find your own voice. Don't just copy what's winning. Don't just copy what you did when you marched.
No.
Find what fits you and your program. And that could be any style. You could be the fun amp style guard. You could be the artistic onyx style guard. You could
Yes.
be, whatever that is. You could be a hybrid of the two. But don't just say, oh, Onyx won with this show. I'm going to do this.
Right. That goes back to finding your own voice, right? I remember when I started teaching as an adult, because we all had the young teaching times and I was teaching in Florida. When I came back and started teaching here, I said to myself, I will never put my kids in ugly uniforms. Because I remember how many wretched, awful, embarrassing uniforms that I had to wear. And they swore to everything holy. Oh, these are so good. We're going to look so good. And we were just laughed all the way off the field, laughed all the way on the floor, or like things didn't look good on someone's body. And it was like, we all knew. And I remember one thing I said for my in design, I'm going to make sure that my kids feel good in their uniforms and they look good too,
Hmm.
regardless of the design. My focus was to make sure the kids looked and felt good. So regardless of maybe the design wasn't always there, but at least people were like, well, they look good. And at least my kids could feel good walking around.
Yeah, there's so many, especially back in our day. It's just they did not dress for body types.
They did not.
They picked a uniform,
Nope.
and everybody was wearing it, no matter what.
No matter what, it
And
didn't matter how thin the fabric was,
yep,
how thick the fabric was. That's what we're wearing. So I remember, like you said, finding your own style is more than just the music you pick. It's more than just,
the genre of your show.
yes, it's so many, but I think people get so caught up in, I want to do this kind of show. And it's more than that. Your style of your program, of whatever someone thinks about when XYZ comes out, we know this is going to happen. Or you could be a toss-up guard. We don't know what the heck they're going to do because they're so different. But
Paramount's a great example of that.
come on now.
Every year, it's like, what are they
What are
going
they
to do?
going to do?
What are they going to do?
Right? Or they could be like throwback Rock Independent. You knew
Yep,
they're going to come out with a white floor and throw those colors down.
yep. Or AMP. AMP's going to come out with a crowd focused show. And they're going to put on
Absolutely.
a damn good show, right?
Exactly. And so, but you don't have to be AMP. You don't have to be Paramount either. You have to make sure you're true to yourself with your shows because if when you're not authentic, everybody knows.
Hmm.
That's a
And your heart's not in it.
nope. And if
Yeah.
your
So if you're
heart's
trying to,
not in it and you're not authentic, the kids aren't going to buy it, and the audience is going to buy it, and the judge will poo-poo it. They will poo-poo that show. It doesn't matter how good they spin, the show will be poo-pooed. Been there, done that.
yep, don't try to keep up with the Joneses.
No, pun intended.
Yeah, right. Dr. Jones.
But I agree. I did that once. I did try to emulate something I did when I was younger, and it was the worst show. We were dead last, and those kids could spin, and I had no idea what was going wrong. And then I had to look back and go, "Who was I trying? What was I trying to do?"
I think a lot of young instructors do this, and it's kind of a little bit further down our list, but we can bring it up now. Is
Mhm.
especially new young instructors, they have all these ideas and they want to get them all on the floor in one show. And I get it. You're excited. It's your first time designing your own show, and you want to do this and you want to do that, and you got to edit, pace yourself. And if you're going to go a certain style, baby steps. Don't
Baby
just
steps.
don't throw everything and then kitchen sink in the show.
Not to mention, if you're a new instructor, for the most part, you may have new kids. You have to make sure those kids can stand up. So while you have all these ideas of grandeur, like, oh my goodness, I remember when I did this toss and tour. I remember when I did this toss here. Oh my, I'll teach my kids that. Can your kids stand up?
We're gonna have a costume change. We're gonna pull the floor. We're gonna paint the floor two different colors and open it up mid show, and then we're gonna have a silent feature, and we're gonna do this, and we're like,
Can your
okay,
kids
okay,
count in time?
you're in regional A.
Come on now. Can your kids count in time? Can they walk to, are your kids scared to death to perform? Because, like you said, those costume changes are stressful.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. You have all these ideas. But when you have new performers, or let's say you have experienced performers and you come as a new instructor, you're new, they're new to you. They have to build and trust you. So you saying, we're gonna have a costume trim, smoke machine, lights on the flags, like, and one, and one, right? We want to make sure. I think the idea is having all the, like you said, all these big ideas. At the end of the day, the judges want a clean show and a
Yep.
cohesive show.
Next big tip for new instructors, especially young instructors, don't be afraid to ask for help. So many young instructors, I'm guilty of this. They get their own program for the first time and they try to do it all themselves. I'm going to write all the equipment work. I'm going to write the staging. I'm going to design the costumes. I'm going to do all the registration stuff. I'm going to get the music cut. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to order the flags. I'm going to
No.
get yourself some help.
Do what you do best, then outsource all the rest. And I think people feel a little shaded when they can't do everything. I was never more happy when I had asked you, I beg you to write this drill because it's not my ministry. When Aaron came to do the rifles, my kids never rejoiced so hard in their life because you're not a rifle.
You are not a rifle.
My
And
kids
that's
were
okay.
laughing, and it's okay.
And that's the thing right there. And it's okay. I'm
Okay.
not a dancer. It's
And it's
okay.
okay. It is
Find somebody
okay.
that can help you that is a dancer.
Yes. Bobby D came for my rifles, and it relieves you and it helps you be a better instructor. You're not stressed, you're not struggling, you're not frustrated because when you try to do everything on your own, you take on your kids.
Yep. And you will stress yourself the F out.
You will stress yourself out. You will not have a fun time.
No,
You know what I mean? It's the glory A is not for you anyhow. So why try and do it all on your own, first and foremost? But the joy and relief when I was able, when we had a little bit of money to hire people, it was like, whoo! And then I just started, it got down to the point where I was only doing movement and being like, oh, we can tweak this, we can tweak that. But the trying to do things on your own is a mistake. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a mistake. Don't do it.
yeah.
Ask for help. Now, I understand that some programs don't have the money to hire other people till you can bring in. Ask your friends.
Your friends will volunteer some time to help out. They may not be at every rehearsal, but I
No.
guarantee you your friends will volunteer some time to come in and work with your rifles, maybe write you 4 sets of gun work,
Hmm.
even if they send it on a video to you and you have
Yep.
to teach it to the kids through the video and you
But
all learn together. You
yes,
all struggle bus together.
yes. But this also goes to the point of finding your program and your voice because if you're in regional A2, what are you trying to do besides training your kids? Right. So at that point in time, like you said, trying to cut the music. I want this really awesome music. For what, boo? We're regional A2.
You were
You get
in the
that Britney Spears
starter class.
toxic, get that Britney Spears toxic, and call it a day.
Yep. Do something fun, get the
Fun.
kids into it, get the interest generated, keep it
Yes.
simple. If you are in the bottom of regional A, because our circuit breaks up regional A into two because we have so many regional A guards. We have regional A1, which are the advanced ones, and the regional A2, which are like the true beginner groups.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They break those.
rows, drop spins, some turns, maybe add a little hop while they're moving. Like
Come on, hop. Get
keep
a little
it
tendu,
simple.
baby, and a little shimmy, a little
Yep.
shimmy. But when you are asking for help, no one is trying to say you can't do it. We're also not trying to tell you not to dream big. We're just trying to make sure you're successful, right?
I
Because
mean, look at these giant programs like Pride of Cincinnati,
come on,
Fusion. I mean, look at their staff list,
huge.
right?
They
I
got the
mean,
budget.
they have
They
the
like the
budget, right?
budget,
But I
but
mean, they don't have one person doing it all.
they don't. As a matter of fact, I remember when we first got into a class and I was petrified. I was asking for so much help. It was ridiculous. And I remember a former instructor of mine told me, your music's too long. You need to cut it. It's way too long. And I was thinking, what do you mean? This right here is when the rifles are gonna come out, and this is where I'm gonna bring all this happening in the movement section. Like, cut that and cut that. And I had to think, I'm like, oh wait, well, I haven't been in a class before. So I cut out 45 seconds, 45 seconds to make it 4 minutes.
Yep.
4 minutes was all I needed. And they were right. They
Yep.
were 1,000% right because they had the experience. So when people are giving you that wisdom, as much as it pains you and much of all these ideas of grandeur, they're trying to save you
Yep.
and to save you from making the mistakes they've clearly made before and making sure, again, you're not 45 seconds to clean, to choreograph,
You only need 4 minutes in A class, so make your show 4:05.
and then never made it before, never made it long enough after that. Was the best decision, best advice I ever got. Never made it past 4 minutes again. Had that 3 minute and 30 seconds equipment.
Yep.
And
I always say just go a few seconds over just because of the timing judges can be a little
yep.
weird. So
Mm-hmm.
make it 4:05, do
Yep.
3:35 of equipment. You're good.
Amen. And learn that through mentorship,
Yep.
right? People were telling me, giving me advice. And again, it doesn't sting sometimes, yeah, but it's not, again, it's not a slight against you. It's to make sure that you're being helped.
Right. And that's a point we're going to make. Find a mentor to help guide you. And
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be even with your show. They can help you with getting scheduled for competitions. Like if you don't have an admin person and you need to register for indoor competitions, how do I do that?
Yep.
Maintaining your expectations for the season, keeping a reality check on you. It's like, what's your true goal for the season? Is it to make your circuit finals? If you have prelims finals, great.
Right.
Is it to medal? Great. Is it realistic? Okay. If it's not, that's not realistic this year.
Right.
You
And
know,
again, when they say it's not realistic, it's no slight against you. We've been in the game a long time. So when they say like, that's not really realistic, it is not because of your ability. It's just how the program works, it's how the
yep.
game.
Yep. And I think a big one that a mentor can help you with is approaching critique and the judges, because so many new instructors, especially young ones, are terrified to go into critique. What do I do? What do I say? Because you think that they're going to, for some reason, they think they're going to go in and get like the riot act read to them or something like that. And it's just like,
I'm telling you,
it's just the deer in headlights you see of these young kids. And, they are kids. They're like 19 years old going into critique, talking to these people that have been judging for 15, 20 years.
before they were born.
Yeah, before they were born. Yeah, they were judging while you were still in diapers. Like,
Hmm.
that's tough. And, you listen to your tapes and they're like, yeah, this isn't working. That's not very successful. You're not achieving very well. Like, it's hard to hear, but a mentor will help you prep for that.
Prep for that. Also help you ask the correct questions, right? Because a lot of the time the judges is like, any questions for me? And they're like, they don't
What
have
did you
them.
think? And they're like, listen to the tape. I told you what I think. When you
And
go into critique, you need to have specific questions. If the judge says this isn't successful, or, I'm questioning this transition, be prepared to question specific things in their tapes. That's what they want you to do.
exactly. And also, you can read up on the score sheets. You can read what it means. Like height of tosses are not on the sheets. There are things that you can know that you can have in your back pocket yourself that even if the judge does not bring up, you can bring things up too. Did you see this in the show? Next time you see our show, have a look at that. There are a lot of things that the judges will give you credit for the next time because they've been judging a lot of shows.
They watch a lot of color guard.
They watch a lot of
And
guard.
you walk in, you say, so what did you think? And they're like,
Who are you?
you had a bench on the floor, right? Like they can remember like two things about your show. If I mean, unless you stood out for good or bad reasons, they're
Mm-hmm.
not going to remember much,
It's such, I mean, imagine
because they're not
all
just
day.
watching to enjoy it. They're watching it and they're commentating through the entire performance for 50,
Yes.
60 color guards. They're not going to remember everything you did.
Especially if you went on 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure, again, listen to your tapes, understand the sheets is so important for critique as well. But again, the judges aren't there to fight you.
And they're not out to get you.
No.
They're not out to get you. Don't listen to those old, bitter, jaded instructors like
Oh,
us
those
that will
queens.
sit there.
Not those orbiter queens.
We know who they are, that are just like, oh, so and so's judging. She doesn't like me. She always gives me a bad number. He this and that. They never like my shows. But no, you
And
know.
to be honest, a lot of times they may not even remember you. This is no tea, no shade, right? Unless you're one of those bigger guards, bigger names and instructors that they know, they might not even remember you. There
Yep.
have been times we walked into critique and they're like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "Wow, what do you mean?" You, kn- it's just what. It's no offense. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yep. While we're on the topic of judges, do not hyper-react to their commentary. You get a tape, and a judge doesn't like a transition or doesn't think a moment is you're achieving as well or you're as successful as it could be. That does not mean go home and rewrite that entire
Exactly.
section.
No. A1, you might be doing that every show then.
Yep.
Because every judge might say, I don't like this. And then I go, I don't like that. Then you're rewriting your whole season. You cannot rewrite because the judge doesn't like some things. It's just
Now,
not.
if you get all three upstairs judges saying
Okay,
the
yeah,
same thing, then
yeah. Mhm.
yes. But if you get one judge,
Or multiple competitions of them
right,
saying this isn't working. But if you have a judge, like say that one G judge is like, that transition isn't working. I don't like it. Da, da, da. You do not have to take notes on every single judge and go through a checkbox and see what's going on. Now, if you were suspicious about it yourself and were like, oh, that's working, and another agrees with you, that's all something to, okay, I wasn't feeling that anyhow. So, well, here's my vindication to probably look into that.
Yeah. And if they don't like a specific moment, go ask them why or why they think it's not successful. You said, hey, you said this transition. Now you're asking them to recall a specific transition in one show of the 50 they watched that day, but they might remember because they do keep some notes.
That's true. Or let's be very clear, it is okay to disagree with the judge.
Hmm.
You can disagree and say, I don't agree with you. Why do you think that? Or you can say, I don't agree with you, and this is why I don't agree with you. You don't have to be rude about it,
No,
but it's a conversation. Critique is a conversation with the judges. It's there to pick their brain. Sometimes they might want to pick your brain too, but
right.
it is okay to disagree. You don't have to always agree with everything that they say. So, okay, yeah, 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 right. Okay, yeah, yeah, right. You don't have to do that.
The judges are not out to get you all. Moving on to where we're actually like talking about what we're doing every day and teaching. This one is, I think, a golden rule of color guard. And I think you honored this all the time when you were teaching, Jen. I did not, which I wish I did, was don't skip technique
Do it.
ever. Do
Don't do
not
it.
skip technique.
Don't ever do it, friends. I'm telling you. And I think what I get it, especially marching band season when you're not as in control as in winter guard season, when the marching band director is like, you only have part one, we're on part four. We are high school kids and they're just learning how to spin. And that you do feel the panic. However, once they get that technique, learning part three and four, by so forth.
Easy. Yep.
It's a breeze because they now have the muscle memory. They now have built the strength. But I do get it because you feel kind of foolish. Everyone's out there spinning their messy show, and you have part one and you're sitting pretty for part two, three, four. And that does force you to want to go, you know what, whatever. We're just gonna do some swoops. But then the thing is, you put swoops in and want to change those swoops, and then you're rewriting. And now the kids are like, as all this choreography is happening, get that technique in.
Get
Because
the
again,
technique in.
get it in.
Don't cave to the pressure of trying to get your show done at the expense of your technique. Because if your kids are trained and they, like you said, they have that muscle,
Mm-hmm.
you teach them work, they get it a lot quicker because they know how their body's supposed to move. We're going
Absolutely.
to flourish up here, then we're going to
Mm-hmm.
turn, we're going to reach over and row because it's marching band. We're keeping it simple, right?
Keep it just simple and
We're
funky
going
and
to we're going to
foolish.
throw in an hourglass here, then we're going to do a little speed spin, toss, catch. And they're like, "Okay, these are all things out of my technique block and I just
Yep,
piece them all together."
absolutely. And same with my movement block. So me, because technique was life in my program, it wasn't just equipment technique, it was movement technique. So our movement warm up, when it came to the ballad, I was like, plug it in, let's go. And people were like, that is stunningly clean. That's a movement technique, movement block that would be able to plug in to the show. And it looks, I don't have to clean it
Yep.
because we work on that technique, lateral girl for life, working those laterals from band camp and before. So people are like, the kids move so well. Well, they can do that really well, which will also carry on into your indoor season.
Absolutely.
But technique doesn't stop there either. You're still hitting the technique in indoor season too.
Yep. And another thing you can do in marching band is you can recycle work. You have four numbers to put on the field. You have a 7.5 minute show. And if you're not going to BOA, you are not a drum corps.
Come on now.
Take your 32 counts in the opener and stick them in the closer. Don't worry if
And
it's
do.
don't worry if it's musical. It goes up, down together. That's all we care about.
My kids always knew what was going to happen at the end. We're going to run here, touch, and run here, touch, and stir, and toss, and hit. Never failed. It never failed. But it also makes them feel good too because all that choreography going into their head, remember, they're also in school. They also about homework. They also have things, unfortunately, for us outside of marching band.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as you can help them, it'll help the program. Like,
Yep.
oh, I know this work. And it'll also boost their confidence because they can say, I can do it. Because some of them be struggle bussing beginning of the
Yep.
season. Struggle bussing. And now end of the season, we're like, oh, part four, here we go. Swoop up, swoop up. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's so easy now. Has all been this easy? No, baby girl knows technique. Technique.
We're back to June, that Wednesday evening rehearsal. Was it easy
Yeah.
then?
And you don't, a technique doesn't have to be grueling 4 hours either. I think people think that technique has to be 3 hours of grueling this one certain technique. I'm old school, so it was drop spins and pole hits and peggy spins and speed spins. But you can do a flag warm up. Like sometimes if you do not have time for technique, like a whole technique block, an hour block, have your flag warm up, hit your move warm up, hit some angles, do some across the floors with your equipment. That takes 20 minutes.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be an hour, 2 hour block.
Yeah. And if you don't have the time, you don't have to do all of your technique exercises.
Exactly.
You don't do
No
drop spins, then
exercise,
speed spins, then your cones, then your flourishes, then your
right?
pull hits, then your this. Pick
Yeah,
three.
exactly. Ton exercise, pole hits. All right, let's set it up.
Yep. You'll be consistently reinforcing good habits.
Absolutely. I would also say do not be afraid to teach movement to your program. Okay, we can do more than a sachet. We can do some more sachet and more than a sachet and a lunge. Because as we know, color guards has moved into the direction of having so much movement in body
Yeah.
to it. And
The
it doesn't
hard thing with that though is a lot of people are not very good movers and
true,
they do not know how to teach dance.
true, but they can repeat what they know. I don't try to explore outside what you saw on TikToks. Get off of TikToks. But what you know you can do, I can sashay and do a calypso. I can sashay and do a tendu, right? So they can do, or they can do across the floor of sashaying with the drop spin. That is movement. So instead of just standing still doing the drop spin, let's sashay with the drop spin. So it doesn't have to be like, okay, now let's do back attitude, back arabesque. Let's not, because I don't teach my kids arabesque either because she advanced. But just a little bit of something, something to keep them moving, keeping their feet moving. So when they're now on the marching band field and like, oh my gosh, they can't stay in beat, movement will help.
Yes. Another big one for our new this is especially for young instructors, those young babies that get their first guard. Remember that the kids do not have your talent or abilities. You get
This,
home from DCI and
oh,
you can toss sixes with a double turn. That's great. Show them you can do that. Your guard is a regional A guard. Don't be trying to teach them how to throw sixes.
as a matter of fact, don't show them you can do a double turn and catch. Don't. Let them watch a video if they want to, but it's not about you. Okay. Like I said earlier, can your kids stand up? Right. And if you are going to be beyond frustrated, if you judge your kids by your talent, you can't do that. And again, as I said earlier, not every kid's going to be as dedicated to do that stuff as well. You have to go by the lowest denominator of the person in your program. There's that as
The
well.
weakest link. Yep.
The
You're only as
weakest
strong
link.
as your weakest link.
So I think a lot of times when you come off core, you forget and underestimate how hard guard is. These kids on weapon, can they drop spin that flag? Can they squeeze and one? So yes, you have these ideas and you're setting up for poor success. They're gonna hate and they won't come back.
Yeah. You're teaching those babies, those new kids. Even I have caught myself in this. I forget color guard is hard.
It's hard.
When you first get a pole put in your hand and you're told you got to spin this around, oh, and now I need you to walk around while you're doing it. Oh, and I need you to act like your dad just died. So I need you sobbing while you're spinning and walking at the same time.
And
But
don't
I
be
need
afraid
you
to
to make sure
pull.
you're projecting it up and not straight forward.
And
And I
don't
need
be
to make
afraid of
sure,
it.
and you need to be doing it with this in time with the person next to you. Yeah, that's hard.
It's hard. And again, in our state, you don't start in Florida, you start in sixth grade, if not before. Ninth grade, and the whole band has a head start because they've been playing
They've been
from
playing their
middle
instruments
school
since fifth grade. Yep.
or yeah, middle school, elementary school. So we already have that learning curve that the band is already, I mean, the band camp percussion only. And it's like, well, and guard is scary. Whereas in the toss, and then the wind comes, it's
Hmm.
a lot. It's so much. And so for you, who they're like, the wind is blowing this way, push against the wind. They don't know push against the wind. They don't know how to adjust for natural elements. They don't know how to adjust for a rotation. I'm like, oh, this is going to be on the half. I got to catch in the half. Those quick thinking skills that you learn because you've been spinning for how long, they don't have those like, instincts yet.
Yeah. They don't know how to do drop spins without rolling up the flag yet.
Not the flag roll. They do three, they gotta stop it,
Yep.
roll it out. And it's okay, right? If you are not willing to teach the beginning, then don't teach the beginning. You should probably start somewhere else.
Yep. Go tech somewhere. Go
Mm-hmm.
maybe be a little choreographer. Go and write some counts for a little more experienced group. But if you are not ready to teach and guide those babies, do not take on a director position.
But I also say learning how to choreograph is also another skill, right? So, like you said, choreograph for another group, you can do that group style. Can you spin to that kind of music? Do they want musicality? That's another skill you have to develop as well, right? So again, they not may not spin like you.
Hmm.
You have to figure out how is this card spinning? How is this card moving? There are a lot of moving parts into being a director or choreographer. They're not like us.
Yeah, I've struggled when I've gone to teach for or write for other color guards because I write to music first and then I stick the counts in.
Same.
So it's just like
You hear me
and
count
then
to what?
when you go to teach it, and then I'm teaching these kids, and they're like, "Wait, where's count two?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
We don't do that.
I'm like, "We're gonna do it to the music, and then we'll find the counts." Especially if the music is very easy to spin to.
Right.
If it's very high and low, you hear, oh, this clearly goes here. This reach goes on this extended note or whatever. But when I have to say, six is here, seven is there, that's not my personal style, and it's a struggle.
But not only that, because again, especially if you come off a core, your muscles are much stronger. You may be able to hit that on count three.
Mhm.
It's going to be 5 and for them.
Yep.
And you have to then say, I really wanted that in 3 and for the music. You have to adjust because their muscles aren't as strong as yours and they're
Yeah.
not developed to be able to spin that way. So you may want that on count three because that's where that cymbal crash is, but that's not where their strengths are. So now we have to adjust. You may have the right choreography because where you want it, that is count three. Like you said, we choreographed to the music and then you go and you're cleaning it and you're like, that's count three. I see it's count three. They can't achieve it. So you're gonna have to learn to adjust, like, well, yeah, I can do it because I have my DCI muscles. I've been spinning all summer. I was just finished coming off Paramount. Yeah, I can do this. You want a triple, you want a quad and three counts? Bet.
Yep.
If they can toss a quad, it's coming down in five. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
different,
It's taking out a light and then it's coming down in their hands and a half. Yep.
Here,
And that's
here.
okay. We all started there. We all threw those
Hey,
quads that hit the ceiling. We all did.
this is-
And we all thought we all thought we were hot stuff
we
doing
thought
it.
we thought we ate. We were like, let me cook because I'm catching these quads. And my saber is spinning like a slow ceiling fan. But I caught it.
My saber looks like it's on slow-mo, but it went around four times.
And that's the thing when you're coming off, you're like, why aren't you tossing? It's a three count. They don't have the muscles for it yet. They
Yeah.
don't have the muscle memory. They don't have the understanding of the equipment, how it moves in time and space. That's a learning curve.
Yep, yep, yep. I think that's the biggest mistake I see young instructors make is
Yes.
they overwrite and they expect their kids to be able to do what they are and they don't write for the class.
But they also, when their kids can't achieve it, they think their kids suck.
Yep.
I no, your kids don't suck. They're new and they're babies, and we have to train them. And so like, oh my God, my kids, or they think they have a couple of years with them. So now their babies can spin rifle and they're on the rifle line, and now the flag line looks a hot mess. Like, oh, my flags suck, they're horrible. No, they're just new.
They're
You,
new.
they're new. So all your bets are non-weapon, and what's left are your babies, your rookies. They have to be trained. They don't suck. They're just new. Don't beat down. Oh, why can't we get this? This is so awful. Blah, blah, blah. So and so Susie 3 year can do it. Well, yeah. Yeah, you have to understand that too.
Come on, Susie, 3 year. Big one. This one was from you, but I totally agree with it. Don't change choreography the day of a competition.
Please and thank you. All
We've been talking about muscle memory this whole time.
the whole time. But I just remember it happening to me, and I was good. Listen, I was good.
Were you though?
But listen, let me have this. Let me have this, Eric. It was like they were like, "Oh, we don't want that as parallel. Make that a 45 and make it happen on count four." If I'm in the zone in this music, boom, my body may not remember. Or I'm gonna have to be forced to think about, okay, that change, that change, that change. So other things might suffer. And that's someone who's experienced. We have these babies or even high school kids again, or young independent, changing things when they already have the stress of a competition and they're anxious and their adrenaline's going, and you're in the parking lot and you're like, oh, this is messy. Take that out. We're just gonna turn. The turn may be easier, yes, but the body isn't used to that turn. My thing is like people have to sleep on it. It has to be slept on.
Yeah.
Can't be.
Just leave it and don't, especially if you're at the site and you're in the parking lot, don't change anything in the parking lot. My God. Or in warm up.
I love a warm up. Don't change the flags in warm up, as in the actual flags. If you know, you know. Don't change flags heading into at a competition. They spin differently.
Yeah.
They had polychina silk and now it's lame.
Yeah. Don't be like, you know what? Take that quad, make it a triple. Like, no, we don't like,
No,
no, no, no, no. Leave it a
exactly.
quad, leave it a mess. Let it be.
And it's true. We've seen that, right? The kid is dropping the quad that day, kept dropping it, but they've nailed it before. And like, forget it, make it a quad, make it a triple. No, no, now they're gonna drop that. They're gonna drop the triple now too.
It'll be a 3.5 that they're going to drop because they're just,
Hmm.
their body goes to throw a quad, but then their brain says, wait, no, I need to throw a triple. And it just leaves their hand awkwardly.
Yep. It's just routine is so important
Yep.
for beginners and experienced alike. So
The
change.
only the only exception is if you have like an emergency, like some poor girl breaks her ankle and you need to change a drill spot, the day of a competition because like, you're going to a regional,
Mhm.
I have to have a second person out there because we have all these exchanges, that's the
Right?
only time that you would be changing stuff the
Agreed.
day of a competition.
Or even rain and or wind. But even for wind, I prepared my kids like this is what happens when it's a windy day. We don't toss. This is what happens. Or rain, that's a whole other beast. But those are things that we can't control,
Right.
right? So we kind of get it. We know, like, well, give it up to the universe for that one because so those are things. But if you can't control things, if all things are in your control, don't change things day of. That's
Yep.
ugh,
And as you're saying, you cannot control their performance.
no. I think that's one thing we might agree about. I am more nervous being an instructor director than performing. I was in control of myself. I was nervous, but when that equipment left my hand, I was in control of it. I knew what was going on. I can catch. When you're watching, you're like, okay,
And you're like,
all
oh God,
right,
here comes that moment. Oh, here comes that quad.
right?
Ooh, yeah.
You're
And
not
you're
in
just like,
control.
oh please don't. Or you watch that kid drop and then they go to pick up their gun and then it slips out of their hand again. So they're like fumbling it across the floor.
They drop the drop. They
Yeah, they drop the drop. Like,
drop the drop, and you can't do anything. And it's nerve-wracking, but we can't control it. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. So you have to trust, like, well, they were trained, and hopefully they make the right decisions.
yep.
Like you have kids, like you're like, I'm raising my kids. I hope they make the right decision.
Right.
Control what they do.
Yeah. I got a rising third grader. I mean, we're at the point where it's just like, I hope he makes smart decisions at school, you know?
Will I get a phone call from the teacher?
Ugh. Yes. Yeah, I have an 8-year-old boy. Of course I'm going to call from the
Yeah,
teacher. He can't
yeah.
sit still. Yeah, of course he's an 8-year-old boy. He's got more energy than the sun itself.
Not the sun.
What else do we have here? Oh, this is a big one, and I think this is very fitting for the season that you had at George Mason this year. Don't panic if things are not going as well as you had hoped, or if things are just not happening in the time frame you'd want. You know, your uniforms are late, your props are late.
It's above me.
You just don't panic.
Panicking does not help. It just makes you feel a lot worse. And if you're panicking, your kids are panicking, then if they lose faith in you, then they can't trust you. It has to be what it has to be. But to be fair, I've never, as you know, all my stuff always came in late. So I was like, that was par for the course. Never this late. Never like we're on the side of the road at a regional building these props that just came in today. Whew. And were we stressed? Absolutely. Did any of the members know? No. We're like, yo, look at this. Whoa, we got it. But stressing out about it would do nothing.
Right. It's not going to make them get here faster.
Nope.
It's not going to make your flags or uniforms magically appear.
Sure won't.
Focus on your product on the floor because, as you all did this year, you know, you didn't get your props until the Power Regional, the last regional
Literally.
weekend of the season,
Last regional.
and you ended up coming in fourth at Dayton.
Yeah. And the thing is, we still prepared them like they had the props, right? We couldn't say, well, the props aren't here, so I guess you have to XYZ. It was, okay, this is what we're putting out. This is what we're doing. This is how where you're going to go. This is how the show's going to be. This is XYZ. And they were like, bet. Okay, cool. If you make it normal, they'll make it normal too.
Yep. And then when the props show up, you just put them there and you just continue as normal.
And did.
You
And
don't
the
have to rewrite the show. Okay, now we have our
didn't.
props. So now this is how
Nope.
we're going to do it.
Nope. And even before, we're like, okay, we're using garbage cans. This is where the props will be. Was it suspicious? Absolutely. Did it matter? No, because if we make it okay, they're okay.
Yep.
But if we're like, and then the props didn't come here, what are we gonna do, you all? I guess we're just gonna blah 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 and make a big old scene. That aura does not make the kids feel good. It doesn't make you feel good. The staff doesn't feel good.
Yep.
It's cupcakes and rainbows.
The
And then
only thing that the only
after,
thing that's obvious is when you're still in your practice blacks and everybody else in their costume.
with the
but
black floor with the electric tape.
yeah. But you know, you were not the only guard. There were so many guards this year that were in practice blacks, like 3, 4 regional weekends in. Like,
Are we going to get anything in? And the
yeah,
thing is, that's when the judges are like, is this what we don't understand your show? Okay, we do not have our stuff in yet. And they're like, well, we don't know. We have to go off what you're producing. You knew that raggedy white tape that was crumbling off was not a part of the floor. Come on
you
now.
know those raggedy purple silks with the holes in them were not our final product.
The literal holes. You knew. You know them going to the back of the floor and kind of looking suspicious because nothing was there, obviously. And again, they would pose and just stand there because again, no props were there, right?
Right,
So it was what it was. You're just gonna stand there and pose beautifully. And they're like, is this some use thing going on? And at a region, you could say yes and go with it, or you could say, no, our props aren't here. You know what I mean? But what you don't do is just out about it.
right. Focus on what's on the floor, the kids,
Absolutely.
the equipment, the training, because that's what's being judged. You know, I've said it many times. Your uniform comes in, your score's not going to jump 12 points because you got your purple unitard.
It does not.
No.
I promise you, it does not. Focus on what you can control, and that's it.
Yep. Talking about costumes, we kind of touched on this earlier. You don't have to have the most designed flags and the most creative costumes.
No, you do not. It's
It goes back to keeping up with the Joneses. You don't need the fancy uniforms just because everybody else is in those $200 creative
I was
costuming.
gonna say the $300 costumes that have like four different layers that you pull off, and the Velcro and the costume changes. You can do simple. Oh gosh, was it 2016? I forgot who was white on white. Was it James Bowie?
Is that the silent year?
I think so. It was just white on white. And yes, it was. It had, and I am saying it. I think it was. Someone fact check me. I'm not sure.
I think that
But
is it. And then that was in the when the boys screamed because they had that part where they were all yelling on the floor and he screamed, I paid money to be here. And the whole audience started laughing.
I mean, one of my former instructors was talking about that. They're like, everyone's trying to, use all these what is it called? Custom designs and all about custom design. And she called like, I just want a blue flag. And they're like, blue flag, just a blue flag. I'm like, do you want this? No, just a blue flag. Because at the end of the day, if it's been like some poo-poo, it doesn't matter how custom designed everything is put together. If they walk in with a subway car and although that was fabulous, it was with a perfectly coiffed floor and the hair done up right and makeup done to the gods. And if you go out there and spending some nonsense, no one's talking about uniforms. No one's talking about your beautiful design. Talking about what the crap you put on that floor.
They may be talking about your uniforms if they stand out.
Fair enough.
Like if
But
you
they
come
will
out
say,
in head to
wow.
toe orange sequins, you're going to be talked about.
Yes, fair enough.
But if
They
you
will
come
say,
out on
yes,
page 16 creative costuming stock uniform, that everybody else is wearing, and then you look a hot mess spinning wise, nobody
no one's
cares.
talking about you.
No.
No. I will say, I remember, like I said earlier before, I never wanted my kids to look a mess with their uniforms. I also wanted to make sure you better spin as good as you look. You better make sure if you're going to have this design, the design can't kick your behind. Right? It's like when you have this choreography, this beautiful music's going on, and that music is kicking your butt. It's like this is not meeting the moment of this music. But you can meet the moment of the music without $400 uniforms. Well, does anyone paint their floors anymore?
Some people do, but
Okay.
most are digital.
You don't, I'm gonna say if you can't afford a digital floor, it is what it is.
You can go on a black floor.
Exactly.
You
You
don't
can
have
go
to
on
have
the
a
black
painted floor.
floor. Hello, Broderick Independent. Or white
A
floor
white floor with like
every
a
year.
with like a green stripe on it, maybe, or maybe a little arc or something, just
Hmm.
very, very minimal.
Right? You don't have to have the most complicated design to be successful. It's okay.
It's okay. You can go out in all black for a year. You
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
spice it up and maybe let the kids get maybe it's got a little mesh on the top, kind of like what even though they were wearing custom costumes, but like Blessed Sacrament wore this year. It was an
Hmm.
all black, but it had like the sheer sleeve. Like
Yeah.
you can do something like that and get it $15 a shirt,
Okay.
and then you get a pair of you go to Discount Dance Supply and get a pair of black jazz pants or just leggings for $12.
There was one year, back in the early 2000s, I forgot the name of the guard. They had overalls on from J.C. Penney's.
Was it a little kid show, like kindergarten show?
It was like it was a farm show. It worked.
It worked.
They did well. They did well. It doesn't have to be any, don't be embarrassed if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And
I've
some,
done Walmart costumes before. I got a
yep,
red polo for the girls out of Walmart. It was like $9 a polo. And then I made blue circle skirts
yep, because you can
because
sew.
I can and well, circle skirts are also super easy to make. But yeah,
Sure.
especially the ones I was making that was just a piece of fabric with some elastic attached because of the color guard costume.
Oh,
But I make
okay,
it requires some effort, but it was a lot cheaper than trying to get a custom costume. And they look good.
exactly.
Nobody
And
said,
there's
"Oh,
no
what
shame
are
in
they
that.
wearing?"
Right. And there's no shame in that. I think, and it's okay. Let's say it didn't work. There's no shame in failing.
Yeah,
There's no shame in failing.
none. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. And there are
Absolutely.
so many guards out there that are on a budget that cannot afford these costumes.
I would beg to say that every guard would say, we don't have no money. I bet you, I don't know, it's a single guard, even the ones that we think have money. I'm sure they're like, we don't have any money. What are you talking about?
Mm.
I feel everyone is probably on their kind of budget, kind of going back to what worrying about our competitors.
Yeah. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
Mm-mm. You can't control what they're doing.
Nope. You can only control your program,
And worrying about what everyone else is doing doesn't allow you to be true to yourself and the kind of program they're trying to create. Those,
especially if you're new and John Smith High School across the street, that instructor's been there for 15 years
hmm.
and has had that program locked and loaded. And, they come out every year and they're killing it. Well, they've been at it a long time. You're new.
Yes. Don't try to, this is prison talk. Don't try to look for the baddest person, take them down. No, stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
Okay, TLC.
Come on.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It is, again, trying to mind your business and make sure you are accomplishing everything that you want to accomplish. Everyone's goals are not yours.
And you can't get mad when you get beat by somebody that you don't think should be beating you. It's out of your hands.
Woo!
I've seen many young instructors saying, I can't believe they beat me. They're not that good. It's always that, it's
In critique.
oh yeah. And people make spectacles of themselves in critique.
In critique.
In critique. Yeah, we've got a story. We ain't gonna go any further, but Virginia people know.
The Virginia people know. They know.
Virginia people know what we're talking about.
They know what we're talking
Yeah.
about. And
It's
it's also teaching your kids bad sportsmanship.
yep.
You know what I mean? Because it's subjective, unfortunately. This is not an SAT. This is not something that we get graded. This is not math to a science where these are the answers. This is what's going to win. It's
Right.
subjective. So for you to say, oh, they beat me. Well, they did. So now what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not track and field where you're timing somebody and the
Come
first
on.
person across the line wins. I mean, that's
That's not it. And I'm not saying you can't feel disappointed, right? It's okay to feel disappointed.
oh
We're not
yeah, and it's
saying
okay to
that,
feel your
right?
feelings.
Right. We're not saying not to feel how you feel, but to go off the deep end, start ranting and raving about how mama always wins and you don't understand why because they're the same choreography every year. That's not going to build your program. How is
Nope.
that helping you become a better instructor? And how is that helping your program become better?
If they are constantly beating you, why don't you watch their show and maybe try to take an objective look at it instead of an opinionated one and say, okay, what are they successful at? Why are they beating you? Look at the recap. You can see where they're beating you, especially if they're slaughtering
Bars,
you in equipment
bars.
or movement. Watch their equipment, watch their movement. If you're tight in GE, but they're slaughtering you in equipment, watch their equipment. Why are they beating me in equipment?
Or you can befriend them.
Yeah,
If,
especially in this day and age where
yeah,
instructors tend to be more friendly with each other. Yeah.
exactly. And say, what do you do for equipment? Because I can't spin like you.
Yeah. How did you get your kids to spin like that?
Right? Who's all the time? How do you get your kids to move that way?
I
How do,
train them. Technique.
technique?
I guarantee you that's going to be in the answer.
Yep. It's really going to be that, right? Like you want to again, if you want to do the show of your dreams, it always boils down, bottom line is technique.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're mad about John Philip Sousa High School across the street always winning, that's technique and legacy. Again, don't try to go again against the giant.
Yep.
Keep doing what you're doing, and then maybe you will become the giant. Who knows?
Yep. Focus on you. Build your program. It
Yes.
doesn't take long to build a good technique program. Your first year, yeah, you're going to be boo boo kitty. It's fine. Just make sure your kids are in the appropriate class and they have a goal that they can achieve, whether it's to be middle of the pack, or to if your circuit is lucky enough to have prelims and finals, we just want to make finals, set a realistic goal and achieve it
And I will say, just make sure your members have dignity. Make sure they can close the season with dignity.
and teach them to be good losers,
Yeah.
please.
Please, please. There is no shame in losing. There can only be one winner. To be very clear. Let's all
Yeah.
remember that. There can only be one winner.
Unless you're WGI and have 45 ties in every class, but thankfully
This is
no
not,
thankfully no ties at the
I
top,
was,
but
I was going to say, this is not that podcast. Okay. That's it. Come back on for that one. Ooh.
we need a tiebreaker system in WGI, please. But that's all we've got. If you feel we missed something, let us know. We're happy to hear what you think on some helpful tips for new or young instructors. This is just kind of what we've pulled out. I know we've kind of rambled on some things, but I think there's lots of great nuggets in here. So I implore you to, even if you're a seasoned instructor, do a self audit. Take a look at yourself. Like, do I do these things? Do I do enough technique? Am I judging myself against other color guards? Take a look at that and see how you can make your program and yourself as an instructor better.
You're here.
So before we go, I ask everybody this question.
Okay.
What was your favorite show of Dayton 2025? And you can't say yourself.
I was going to say, excluding my own group, I'm going to go with Etude World Class.
Oh, they were so good.
Oh, they were so good.
That flag line. Oh,
Oh,
that is the best flag line I've seen in years.
right? And you know I love a good flag. You know I love a good flag, but I have that show and I just watch it on the metro on the way to work just so I can go.
That pink flag section.
Tears.
Those six pink flags in the corner, they come
My
down to the
eyes
ground.
watered. They really
Ah,
did. Whenever
such a good show.
it was so breathtaking. So thank you to 2025. You made my season when I was watching.
Yeah.
That breathtaking, hands down.
Excellent. Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We
I'm
finally
sorry
got to
it took
do
so
this.
long.
I've
I know.
been hounding your busy butt for a
I'm
while.
sorry. I'm sorry. The world is on fire, and I have a water gun to put it out. Okay, so
Yeah. The little green spray bottle you can buy at Walmart, right? Just
yes,
like
yeah. Mhm.
all right. Well, thank you everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation. This was one I was looking forward to doing for a long time, and I was happy to finally be able to do it. Don't forget to submit your questions for the listener Q&A episode, and also if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast wherever you listen, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode, so until then, stay safe, stay fabulous, and remember, at the end of the day, it's just flags in a gym.